Hey everyone, my name is Delaina Burns and I'm with you today on Live with Prima. And today I want to create these gift boxes, and I'm going to kind of show you how to make a couple of them and how I embellish them. And also on this particular one here, we're going to create the card that's inside. This is a very layered Christmas card, and I wanted something to house the card. Envelopes just don't work, so I created these little gift boxes, and I'm sure you've seen them, but I want to show you a really quick and easy way to make them for any card, any size, any shape. You can do these. Today we're going to work on kind of a rectangle shape, but you can do squares, you can do octagons, you can do anything in the shape of your card. So later on, I may do a class that shows you some of the actual shaped cards, but today we'll have time to do the rectangle style or possibly a square style. So first I want to start off by giving you a few announcements. Get my email opened up. Thursday there'll be a brand new video on our YouTube channel with Tiffany. She's going to be creating a wonderful Christmas project for the home. So be sure and check that out on Thursday. And also Art Venture is quickly approaching. Has everybody signed up for that? Make sure you go over and sign up for this exclusive event. If you can make it to Phoenix, go to primamarketinginc.com and click on the Art Venture tab to get more information and get signed up for that. It is a must-go-to event. Wish I was going to be there, but I will be waiting for a grandbaby come January, so I won't be going anywhere that month much except to the hospital to meet my little grandbaby. So let's get started. I already told you these are just 3 gift boxes, and in each one I'm going to just give you a peek. I told you in this one, or I showed you in this one, we're going to be making this card. I've already got that one shown to you. This is another Christmas card, and you can see I've decorated the box with some rub-ons and some of the gold foil. And inside I have a Christmas card that's all layered up with pearls and more of the foil. And those are both cards. These are 5x7 cards. And then this is a tag that I created using a Julie Nutting doll stamp. And I kind of loved her for a card. And you can make these dimensional. You can make these open and close and use them for a card. So, and have a sentiment on the front of them. So this is also an idea for something to house your extra thick embellished tags as well. Beautiful for Julie Nutting. So just want to get started and kind of want to show you how easy it is to make these little boxes in this shape. It's fast and easy and fun, and it gives you a way to turn your card or your tag into a gift. So I'm going to lay these finished pieces to the side, and we're going to work on this one. I've got my scoreboard all out, and I know it's got some age, so it's got some spots and things on it. We're going to be working with a 5x7 card. So I worked ahead and cut out my card. This is a piece of cardstock that measures 10 inches by 7 inches. And what you're going to do is put it on your scoreboard long ways and score it halfway at 5 inches. Fold it over, and that's your card. So 7 inches by 10 inches, and then score at 5 inches. Fold it over. There's your 5x7 card. Easy peasy. This particular card, let's take her out of the box, is very layered. And it's pretty simply layered. I don't have anything really hard to create that's on these layers. It's really fast to do. I've worked ahead. First layer that I have back here, you can see, has this little die cut piece back here with these little stars cut out. This is one of my favorite things right now that Prima came out with, and it's the confetti die. I love the confetti die. This is the stars, and Carrie, I don't have the packaging right here with me, but this is the confetti die stars. I used this entire piece, cut it out, and then went back and sort of evened up the edges pretty close to where the stars kind of end there, and I'm going to use this whole piece for one layer on my card here. The next thing I did is I used my journaling pad, note card pad here, the Sweet Peppermint. This is number 991616. Sweet Peppermint is just loaded with beautiful patterns, and the colors are very vibrant and happy and very versatile for mixing and matching. So everything in here matches, so use any piece that you'd like. I chose to use these three here. And then I just found some strips, or I just cut some strips. Did not find them. I cut some strips from the A4 pad. Also going to be using the A4 pad here. I'll just tell you that number for the A4 pad is going to be number 991371. And that is the labels, or the strips rather, page here. You can see these strips. And I cut these strips that I have here from the bottom of this piece of paper. So you can cut those off, or you could just use your strips and scraps that you have from other projects. I wanted to use the little ruler paper, the music note, and then I'm just using the back side of the paper, which is this kind of diagonal plaid. So just so that I can have lots of different layers of different pattern on my card. So you can see what I did. Just pull these out. Grab your trimmer, because we're going to cut just a little bit off of each one of these. They're really, you could use them as is. I wanted them just a little bit smaller, so I'm going to take about a 1/2 inch off both sides. Only about a 1/2 inch. So just trim away just about a 1/2 inch. And if each one is not exactly the same, I'm not really being careful to measure this exactly. If one's a little bigger, a little smaller, oh, I didn't cut off that all the way through. If one's a little bigger or a little smaller than the other, that is totally okay. You want them pretty close, but they don't have to be exact, because we're going to not lay them like one right on top of the other. We're going to sort of offset them just a little bit. So cut your layers. And that's just straight from your little 4x6 journaling notepad. So that's pretty easy. If you don't have the journaling notepad, grab you some paper and cut it into these sizes. I want to take just a little bit more off. I don't think I took it off this side of this paper. This is one of my favorite papers. I don't know why it looks like little stars to me. It's actually little dots, but it looks like little stars. Kind of looks like the sky. Yes, it's red. It's not black, but it looks like the sky to me. The dark sky, the night sky. So what we're going to do first is just lay down our die cut piece here. And since this middle piece is going to be covered up, I'm just going to add some glue right to the center of my paper. Of my card, not my paper. Well, it is paper, but I'm going to add it to the center of my card. Be sure that your card is opening and closing this way. I've done cards upside down before. You can go back and fix this. Now this has larger stars and smaller stars. I want the larger stars at the bottom. I don't really know why. I just kind of like the idea of having the larger ones at the bottom. Doesn't really matter. So if you get your large ones at the top, it's totally fine. So just going to kind of center this here. Let the glue start to kind of adhere there. Let it dry a little bit. Then we're going to grab our layers and some ink, and just going to kind of ink our edges pretty heavy. If you go in and you get a little bit of a darker little smudge like I just did, that sort of adds to the beauty of it, so don't worry about it. One layer, 2 layers. I want to do this really quick because I want to get onto our boxes. But I wanted to show you a set. I wanted to at least do a card along with the boxes, so you kind of can do your set if you choose to kind of do this. So ink these edges up really good. By inking them so far kind of over the edge, I'm adding that little bit of brown, and I'm using knotted wood chalk edger. My screen's gone dark. So just ink that up. Grab your little strips, ink those up as well. And since I've cut this from the A4 pad, I sort of had a guide as to where to cut. This one's going to be about a 1/2 inch wide. Uh-oh. Where did you go? Okay, y'all, I'm going to have to grab another strip because I can't reach that. That's what happens when you're working on camera like this. You are subject to throw it across the room, and that's what it did. So I'm just going to cut myself another strip. I'm just going to go in and grab this polka dot strip here. This is kind of going to be the outside of our box, so it will work. See, you have to improvise. I can't believe I threw that across the room. It's okay. I didn't really throw it. I sort of lost hold of it. There's a difference. So let me grab my scissors, and I'm just going to kind of cut this at a little bit of a diagonal down here at the bottom, just about the same size as those. Grabbing my ink. It still kind of tickles me. That's funny. Oh my word. Love it live. Okay. And y'all, it's been a while since I have done one live. And I told you I'm a little bit nervous. It's weird. I'm looking at the chat. Hey Julianne. Hey Lisa. Who else do I see? I can't see for long because I can't watch and work. I am not that talented. So, moving on here. Let me get back to my card. Looking at my time. I don't know if I can see anybody else. Oh, the chat's kind of funky for me right now. It's not all showing. It's kind of strange. Here we go, just inking up my edges, and this strip's probably about 1.25 inches wide. I wanted and I didn't really measure these when I was getting started on my original card. I just kind of grabbed strips where I'd been cutting and just added those for layers. So there's all my layers. I'm not going to pop these up this time, so I'm not going to use any cardboard or pop dots or anything for these papers. I will be popping up my Santa here in just a minute. So I'm going to start off with this diagonal stripe, which I love. It's one of my favorites in the paper collection. Kind of offset it just a little bit, just tilt it just a little. Then we're going to grab this pretty diagonal plaid. And like I said, if you like other patterns and you want to mix in other patterns, it's completely up to you. So let's add our plaid. I like to kind of turn the corners up. Then we're going to add our top. About like that. And then what I want to do is just kind of curl the edges up, each one. Just kind of roll those up, 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 up. Just define that corner. Just make that kind of stand out. Roll it up, roll, roll, roll. Like so. Okay. There are our layers. Then what I'm going to do is go back in with my strips. And I don't have my music note. I threw it across the room. So I'm just going to kind of layer these. Grab my glue. Start off with our music paper kind of in the back. Just going to kind of lay it right about there. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. You just want layers. You just want lots of layers and lots of layers and textures and patterns and all that really kind of make these projects kind of stand out. So lay him right about there. And I just want all of that pattern to kind of show. I want a little bit of each one to kind of peek out there. So what I'm going to do now is grab my flowers, and I'm going to use flower pack 590628 from Sweet Peppermint. These are not the exact flowers that I used originally, but they will be very pretty. I don't have another pack, and I didn't realize that, of the ones I originally used, but this all coordinates with Sweet Peppermint, so these will work fine. So let's grab this one and this patterned one here, and let's reach way up inside here and grab. Well, you know what? I just changed my mind. This is the pack of flowers that I originally used. Aha! I just was not paying attention to the numbers. I must have transposed the number when I was looking for my set. So these are the exact same flowers that I used. So that's good. Or they are at least so close, they're similar, and the patterns of paper are the same. So what I'm going to do first is just kind of fluff them up. Just kind of bend them up. Fluff, fluff, fluff. Yeah, these are a little different. Okay, I didn't lose my mind. These are just a little different, but the patterns are the same. So the next thing I'm going to grab is the Sweet Peppermint Chipboards and More. And if I can figure out where it opens, let's not even try to figure it out. Let's just do that. And what I want to get out of here is the Santa Claus. So let me see. I'm not used to this new packaging completely yet, so I have to kind of figure out how to get in. Where are you, Santa? Oh, there he is. Nope, that's not him. That's not him either. Okay, let's kind of dump it out. Dump you there, and let's find Santa. Okay, and there he is. And you could do another piece of chipboard, whatever you would like, but I liked this Santa. And I am going to pop him up. So let me find, in fact, I have some of my, see, Carrie, oh, there it is, never mind. Found it. I'm just going to have to reach across the table here to get it. It's right here. Found my cardboard. Just going to cut a piece out. There's always a box somewhere in this room that I can use as a pop dot. It's my favorite use for a pop dot. Okay, I'm going to take the back cover off. I want to just tear away the little adhesive cover and also the entire sticky layer. I just want to pull that off. You could powder it to make it not sticky, but I prefer to just kind of pull all that off so I don't have to worry about it. Then things, if you gift the card or something like that, there's not still sticky there and things aren't sticking up under there to it. So just take that off. I'm going to add a couple of layers of cardboard here, and you are so welcome to use pop dots or foam tape or whatever your favorite popper upper product is. Popper upper product, that's kind of a funny phrase. Okay, so we're going to pop him up and we're going to add him right to the middle of the card. So, and a little glue. We have our flowers kind of just laying there. I have not glued them down because I want to add Santa first, just right to the middle of the card. Easy peasy. Then grab some glue. A little glue on that one. These do not pop up. So a little glue on this one. And then my glue's a little thick, so bear with me. It's going to be making noises and whatever. So add that right about there. Santa's all loaded up with toys, and he's got his flowers like that. Okay, then what I'm going to add, when I used the confetti die, I kind of kept the negative piece from the background, but you also get these little confetti pieces, these little die cut confetti pieces. So I'm going to use a few of these, kind of around the card. Use kind of a smaller one here, kind of a big one here. I'm kind of looking to see what it did. Okay, one right about there. Just going to use a few because we're going to accent those with these mechanical stars. This is number 963354, and these stars are Finnabair. They're very dimensional, so I want to grab a couple of sizes. Let's grab one of the larger ones. I want to get one kind of the medium size ones, and I want to kind of get the silvery colored ones. There's kind of a gold color and a silver color. I want to grab the silver color ones. Okay, keep all this together. Close that back up for another project, another day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my planner glue pen. Have y'all tried the planner glue pen yet? Just add a little glue to the back and stick him down. Add a little glue to the back and stick him down. This is pink, but it's pink to kind of match planner. It's going to dry clear. So it dries permanent, but it does give you just a minute. You can kind of move it around for just a minute till it does dry, and then it is a permanent dry. So I'm going to use that for my confetti, and then I'm going to grab my little stars, and I'm going to use a little bit of glossy accents for my stars. Switching my glue up today a little bit. Usually I'm all about using just Fabri-Tac, but today I'm going to use, let's slide this up just a little, right about there. Let's add a little dot of glossy accents right about there, and then drop your little star. Now that's going to take a minute to dry since it's glossy accents. I know the Fabri-Tac does dry a little quicker, but I want it to be very permanent and not be so messy. And my glue's kind of thick today, and I'll have it all over the place. Okay, my star's moving a little bit because it's not completely dry. So once it's dry, it'll be good. And I'm just offsetting these metal stars kind of off, a little bit offset of the paper stars. So that's it. That is our card. That is completely our card. I know, sorry about your ears, but I want to kind of get that glue out of that little tube so that that does not dry up and stick that tube. Okay, so that's our card. Now you can see this card is pretty thick for an envelope, especially since we've done layers of cardboard and pop dots and all that fun stuff. So my plan here is to do a box that's going to hold the actual card. So what you want to do is you can make it any size. It works for any size card, and it works for shapes as well, but today we're just going to concentrate on the rectangle shape. What I do is kind of measure the side of my card. I don't want to turn it much because my glossy accents is not dried yet. So I'm just going to kind of measure. And I need this box to be about at least 3/4 of an inch thick, because this card is about 3/4 of an inch thick. So I'm just going to add about an extra 1/4 of an inch, round that off to about 1 inch thick. So just about an inch thick is how thick I'm going to actually make my box. So what we're going to do is make the bottom of the box first. And there's going to be, I'm going to tell you a couple of times that you're going to do about a 1/16 of an inch bigger in a couple of different places. One of those is look at your card and be sure that you don't have anything like hanging over the edge of your card. You want to measure your card to the outside of your embellishments. So if it's just your card, that flower is really we can kind of tuck it in. So we're just basically working with our card. So I'm going to use a piece of 8.5 by 11 just plain white smooth cardstock for the bottom of my box, just to kind of conserve my paper or whatever, because you could coordinate the papers, but I kind of like the idea of the bottom being more, I guess, more solid, more plain. So I'm going to just do a piece of white cardstock. The top is going to be this paper from the A4 pad, and it's also going to be about 8.5 by 11. I'm not sure. Let's see the exact size of this. This one measures 8.25 by about 11.5. So this, your box will make fine out of this for this size card, for a 5 by 7 card. Now, if it's bigger, you might have to use a 12 by 12 sheet. But for this one, we can get by with these smaller papers. So I'm going to take advantage of using the smaller papers. So first thing you're going to do is, we determined, and you can make little notes. You can take, what I'm going to do is grab a piece of cardstock. And so we decided that the box needs to be 1 inch thick. So I'm just going to kind of write that down so that I don't forget. It's 1 inch thick. And I'm also using a 5 by 7 card, just so I don't forget that, because I start kind of making these when I'm making quite a few and I forget what I'm working on. So let's start with that. We've got our 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock on our little scoreboard here. Since we want it 1 inch thick, we're going to start off with our first score line at 1 inch. So just score all the way down your paper at 1 inch. And you want to score it really good. So I'm gonna kind of run that little bone folder down there about 3 times. You don't want to cut through the paper, but you want to be sure you got a really nice fold. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my card. I know it's 5 by 7, but sometimes it might vary if you've cut a little off or whatever. So you can actually use your card as your guide. And you may not can see my line here at 1 inch. You may not, this white may not be showing. I can't tell if you can see or not. But I've got that 1 inch fold right there, or score, I should say. What I'm going to do is lay my card about 1/16 of an inch from that line, and I'm going to determine where that falls right here. So about 1/16 of an inch from that line is going to fall at about 6 1/16, just one little mark past the 6. If you're looking at your scoreboard, it's just one little mark past the 6. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to score down there. So since my card is a 5 by 7, this is what my card's going to measure. But any size card that you lay here, you're going to go just 1/16 of an inch past that mark, and you know, score it down. You want it to be just a little bit bigger than your card, so it doesn't fit really snug down in the box. So we started off at an inch, scored 1 inch from the left side of the paper, laid my card down long ways. It stops at 6 inches, so I went 1/16 of an inch over. I'm making it 1/16 of an inch bigger than my card, and I scored it at that mark. Okay, now what we're going to do is turn the card around. And the first thing we're going to do is what we did originally. We're going to score at 1 inch, because our card is 1 inch thick. Or we need the box to be 1 inch thick, because our card is 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, so now we've got 3 score marks. So we're going to need another score mark for the fold, and then we're going to need a cut mark, because we're not going to need all this paper. So what we're going to do, lay your card back down, butt it up to the top of the scoreboard, right here on your mark. It falls on the 8 this time. Move over 1/16 of an inch. You want to be 1/16 of an inch bigger. And this is for the bottom of your card. This is actually for the bottom. Don't forget, we're working on the bottom of the box. I'm sorry. This is the bottom of the box. Okay. So now we have our opening here. We haven't, can you see the square? Let me show you. Can you see the square here? It's gonna, we have an opening here for the bottom of our box. Now what we need to do is figure out how much we need to cut off here to finish our box. Lay your card kind of in the middle there so you can kind of decide what you're doing here. Here's our fold. Here's our fold. What we need is the flap for the side of the box. So what we're going to do is measure down 1 inch from where we marked our score mark. So we marked at 8 1/16. I'm going to go 1 inch down to 9 1/16 of an inch. And that is going to be our cut mark there. We're going to cut that off, and I'm just going to kind of write that to the outside here. We're going to cut that off right there. Then we're going to turn it around to our left side here. We're actually going to turn it all the way around. You're going to turn it all the way around. And y'all may have to watch this video back to kind of get these measurements, but after a minute or two, it will make sense. Okay, this is where our card fits in here. This is our score mark where it's going to fold up. We need to cut off, so we need to mark 1 inch from our score mark. So we marked it at 6 1/16. We're going to score it again for our cut mark at 7 1/16 of an inch. Score that. And that too is our cut mark. And we're going to do another side to this, so y'all will kind of get it. After a few minutes, you'll be making these like nobody's business. So put it on your trimmer. Move it to your score mark. That's our cut mark. The scored area, that's our cut mark. Move it there. Cut that off. Turn it around. Go back to the other cut mark on the long side. Cut that off. And this is what we have left. We have, okay, we're losing our little embellishments. We have our little card that's going to fit right here in the center there. And we need to fold up our scored areas. So just kind of fold these up. Like so. And remember, the inside of our box here, for the bottom of our box, is going to be 1/16 of an inch bigger than our card. Grab your scissors. Kind of lay your box in front of you, and we're going to clip this right at this corner, just on that side right there. Same thing on this other piece. Clip this right there. See? So we're going to do that on this side. Then we're going to turn the card around, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to clip. We're just using our little score mark as a guide. You're cutting on down your score mark right to that little corner where these scores meet. And then we're going to use our bone folder here and just give these a really nice crease. Crease, crease, crease. Okay, now what we're going to do is grab our planter glue again. It's gone dark again. Grab our planter glue, and we're going to add a little glue on our little tabs here. We're going to put the tabs to the inside of the box and kind of squeeze those together. Glue here. Glue here on our little loose tabs. Add a little glue. Add a little glue. The planter glue pen has become my friend. Okay, and there is your box, the bottom of your box. So you can see, easy peasy, and our card fits right inside. Okay, now we're going to make the top of the box. So this may make you a little more familiar with what we've done. The bottom of the box, we did 1/16 of an inch bigger. The top of the box is going to be 1/4 of an inch bigger. Let me add a little more glue. I'm going to add a little Fabri-Tac so this will stay a little bit faster. We'll glue. The Fabri-Tac dries faster. So let's add you back. Okay, the bottom of the box is 1/16 of an inch bigger than the card. The top of the box is 1/4 of an inch bigger than the card. So remember those measurements. That's something to remember, so that what I'm going to do is cut my little selvage piece off here at the top first, so it's not in my way. Just want to kind of clean up the edge of this. Okay, so we're going to start off with our paper like this. First thing we're going to do, we're still going to cut, we're still going to score for 1 inch depth. So the first thing you're going to do is score, and we're going to do it on this side of the paper because we want this piece to show. So we do all of our scoring on the opposite side of the paper. So our first score mark is at 1 inch. There's our first score mark. Make sure you do that really good. Okay, then we're going to lay our card down right next to our score mark at 1 inch. It's going to be started at 1 inch right here. It stops at 6 inches, so our score mark is going to be at at 6 1/4. So you're going to be, let me line it up, 6 1/4. So you're going to be right here at 6 1/4. You need the top of the box to be a little bit bigger than the bottom of the box so that it fits on top of it, so that they close properly. So our score mark is at 1 inch and at 6 1/4 inches. And that is for our 5x7 card. Okay, so we got that mark. Now we're going to swing it around, and we're going to, first score is at 1 inch. So score your 1 inch. And I'm going to fold these just a little bit because this is patterned and you're not going to be able to kind of see my mark. So I'm going to go ahead and score this just a little bit, or fold this a little bit so that you can see my score marks. Okay, so we've got our 1 inch. So we basically got our box side here. We're going to turn this round long ways. Lay your card down on your mark at 1 inch. So you're going to actually score this card at 8 1/4. 1/4 of an inch bigger than your card. Like so. While I've got it laying here, I'm going to go ahead and do my cut mark. Since I've got this at 8 1/4, my cut mark is going to be at 9 1/4. So go ahead and mark your cut mark. And I don't know what I did with my pen, but I will remember that that is my cut mark. Okay, turn it back around. Let's get our cut mark for our smaller side. Lay it back at 1 inch. Got your card here at 1 inch. We've got our score mark at 6 1/4. So our cut mark is going to be at 7 1/4. Okay, now what I'm going to do is cut off. And you want to, I'm going to kind of fold this up so you can kind of see that this is my, well, you probably can't see it on the thing, but you can kind of see my score mark there. That's where I'm cutting. So just be sure to cut that. You could put that on your trimmer and do it, but I do it, I score it so that I'm positive. I'm looking at it and I'm positive that that's where I'm supposed to cut, because I have cut off my entire scored area before. So okay, wait just a second. Oh, hold on just a second. Let me be sure. At 1 inch at 6 1/4. Okay, sorry, I scored him too far. I didn't score him close enough. I don't know why I scored him way down there. I'm going to score him at 6 1/4 here, at 7 1/4. I don't know why I did way down there. At 7 1/4. So better to cut him off too big than too small. So he's going to be cut at 7 1/4. And you would be able to tell because your flap would be too big or too small. So you're going to be able to tell if you've cut it improperly. So that's what I want right there. Kind of fold everything up. Use your bone folder. And I'm doing this before I clip my little tabs this time. Doesn't matter when you do it. Just kind of as long as you get that folded really nicely. Okay, then the same thing. I'm just going to cut from this end right down to where those score marks meet. Just clip. And you can make these as thick as you need to. You can make them a 1/2 inch thick. You can make them 2 inches thick, 3 inches thick. I don't think I've made one bigger than 3 inches thick, but you can make these really pretty thick to house these cards. Add glue to your little flaps. Make sure your little tabs are to the inside of the box so the outside of the box remains really clean. Glue. Add a little glue. And I would have given you exact measurements for these particular cards, but it's just a lot easier if you know you can lay your card down and make them precisely custom to the size card that you have. So that's kind of the reason I didn't just give you score marks. I wanted to kind of show you how easy it is to make your own box custom sized. Okay, so let's put our card in. And this is a 1/16 of an inch bigger, so it's going to fit right over the top of our box, and it's going to meet perfect. See there? Easy peasy. The bottom of the box is 1/16 of an inch bigger than your card. The top of the box is 1/4 of an inch bigger than your card, so that it fits over the top of the bottom of the box. So that is it. We've got just a couple of minutes left, and I want to show you kind of how I embellish these. I did these pretty simple. You can see this one, I just used a ribbon and a couple of pieces of the chipboard. So the way I did my ribbon, I have a ribbon here that I probably picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I want to kind of measure to be sure it's a little bit longer than the box. I want it to kind of fit around the box. So just kind of cut that off. I want 2 pieces of that. Take the top of your box off. We're just going to decorate the top of the box. We don't really want to tie it around the whole box so that the box remains decorated. So what I'm going to do is just turn this over. I'm going to add a little bit of glue right inside the box here. A little bit right there. Kind of in the same area, a little bit on the other end. I'm going to pull my ribbon around, and I'm going to attach it to that glue inside of there that I just added. Turn your box over and just be kind of sure. You can shift this. The glue will be forgiving for just a minute. Be kind of sure that's about where you want it. I kind of like things added kind of up to that corner. So just be sure. I'm going to move it down just a little bit. And when you're sure you've got it in the right place, you can go back and kind of clip your ribbon off on the inside of the box there. So you want it about like that. Excuse me, sorry, I was about to cough. Then I'm going to lay this one just about like this, kind of up in that corner. So lay your ribbon down. This is really easy. Turn it over. If I can get my glue to come down, I left the top off my glue, and it got kind of thick, and I didn't realize I'd left the top off. I had not been in here in a while, which is not like me to be out of the room for a few days, but I had not been in here in a few days, and there my glue was, just sitting on my table, opened. Not good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clip these off just a little bit. Just to kind of clean the inside of that up just a little bit in there. Okay, kind of like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece, just going to cut off maybe 3 or 4 inches. And I'm going to kind of feed it up underneath both layers of this ribbon. This is a really pretty sheer ribbon. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. Kind of like so. And it's good to do this pretty quick while your glue's still a little bit wet, because you don't want it kind of pulling your box out of shape. So if you do need to kind of give your ribbon a little bit of a relief, kind of pull it down some, you can do that if it's still wet. And then we're just going to kind of cut this off kind of at an angle, about like that. Okay, about like that. Then we're going to grab our chipboard. Get rid of our ribbon. That just makes a really pretty festive looking little package there. Then we got the little package here, the little Christmas package. And you know, I like to either powder it or tear away all of the sticky. So I'm going to tear all that sticky away. And we're going to add our little, let's kind of want my ribbon kind of going in this direction. I kind of get an idea of how I want it to be, and sometimes it's fabric and it doesn't just cooperate. So let's clip our little. Okay, so we're just going to add a little glue just right here to the back of our little piece of chipboard. I'm just going to glue that right there. I'm also going to add a little bit of glue right here to this corner so that it will kind of hold down right there. And that'll dry in just a minute. And then I want to grab the little flowers. Let's kind of look through here, and you see the chipboard is so cute. It's got a little Santa hat and a little Santa face, and it's got little girl with little holly in a basket. Very pretty. Little Santa and his sleigh. Very pretty chipboard. Let me find my little flowers. Okay, here's little flowers right here. I'm going to use. Put this to the side. Again, we're going to pull this off. Pull off our sticky. And I don't like to lay the sticky, just in case things kind of get under there and stick to it. And I don't want to lay it flat. I don't like anything kind of laying flat. So this just helps me prevent having to put it flat. I don't normally do this on camera, so I can take all the time I need. But this one's not cooperating all the way. So let's pull that away like so. Then I'm going to add a little glue to the back. I wish my glue was not so thick. A little glue to the back here. And then I'm just going to tuck that right under there. Like so. And that's it. That's our card and our gift box. Easy peasy. And it makes your card more like a gift. Now this is still not, you're still not going to be able to mail in this box. This box is not sturdy enough. But it just makes a card, especially these thick cards, the presentation of them so much nicer and so much more elegant to be able to present them in a nice little fitted box that you've taken the time to decorate. It just looks more like a gift. This could go under the Christmas tree. So it would just make a really pretty gift for school teachers and pretty much anybody. So what I want to show you now is just these other 2 boxes that I created. I'm going to move our scoreboard. The other 2 boxes that I made, I just want to kind of show you how I embellished them. Like this one here, this is another Christmas one. You can see I did this ribbon the same way. I just put the ribbon just like I did on the other one. I tied it there at the top, added a couple of flowers, and I used the Prima rub-ons here in the corners, rubbed them on using the gold foil, and just finished that up really quick. I just kind of cut a tag. You can use a punch or whatever you'd like, and I added a little bit of foil to my tag, and I'll show you really quick a little trick that I did on that tag. Now you can use like wet adhesive glues and things to add the foil. I'm just gonna kind of just show you how I did the tag. Let me just kind of cut a little piece here about the size that I did there. That's about what I used for the tag. I just cut a little rectangle shape and then just kind of round the corners. I didn't measure or anything. I just kind of randomly rounded the corners like so. I used all white cardstock for my box. So I've got the white cardstock with the gold foil. And you can see on the inside of my card here too. See what I've done to the edges here with the foil. All this Christmas tree is just Frank's pearls. The pearls number 2, I think. That's what they're called. And the little stones creating the Christmas tree, and the little foil, and little added a foil piece, little sections right there, I guess I should say. What I did, and I am indebted to Miss Sharon Lackinen right now, because she is the one who mentioned to me that this could be done, because I've been using Fabri-Tac to do this. But you can take your little planter glue and just kind of rub it onto your little tag or onto your card like I did there, kind of around the edge, kind of like so. And I'm going to blow it, let it dry just a minute, give it just a second to dry, and then you're going to grab your foil. You don't want it to be really wet. Let it dry just a minute. And take your foil, and this is from the package of foil with all the gold in it, Carrie. I don't know if I have the number here or not. I don't know if I have the packaging. Just lay your foil down, shiny side up, or I guess I should say foil side up, and voila! Look at there. Looky there, looky there, looky there. And then you got a little tag that you can kind of just add to your box. You can put someone's name, or from you, or from Santa, or whatever. But don't you love that little idea with that foil? Everybody with me say thank you, Sharon. Then I want to grab this box right here. Now this was done the same way. This was for the Julie Nutting tag. I layered it all up, and then I made the box bottom out of the white cardstock, the top out of one of the pattern papers from the Rossi Bell collection. So here's my box. And what I did, and I didn't do it on this box, but I added it to this one because I was so tickled that this was working. First, to the side of your box, you can just take your glue stick, your little planter glue, a little bit on the edge. Just add a little bit, like so. Let it dry for just a minute. Just let it dry for a minute. And then add your foil. I love ideas like this because look at that. There's some foil. There's some foil. Now you've got a little foil added to your box. Not a lot, just a little. These papers with Rossi Bell, and also with Frank's line, the 12 by 12s, the Sweet Peppermint, they are foiled. The 12 by 12 papers are. But this is a way to add some of the foil to the papers that don't have foil. So that's what I've done. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to add a little ink. I've just cut a strip of paper the length of the box. And this is probably about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches wide. Just want to ink the edges. And I'm using brown, but probably black ink would have been better for this. But anyway, I'm already using the brown. So I just kind of want that white core on the edge of that paper covered up. I don't want to see that white core. And I just used a punch. This is another scrap piece of paper from the collection from a layout that I had made, and to embellish the top of the box I'm just going to take strips of paper, and Carrie, I am going to be done in like a minute. So let's go down really quick, add our strip of paper. You can see our gold foil there, and then this one the same thing. Let's add it kind of right down the middle of that one. Just got a few layers of color. Then I'm going to go in and kind of raise up the edges of my scallop. I don't want it to be flat. I want it raised just a little bit. So just get your fingers under there. Raise that up just a little bit. Offsetting it to the side just a little bit. Then I'm going to grab some seam binding. Just some pink seam binding. Let's open our box out. And same thing, kind of find where your little strip is down through there. And we're going to add a little glue here. Sorry about that. Now a little glue here. Pull our seam binding down. Going to tuck it right inside the box right there. Cut this off on this end. Save all that for another project. Tuck that in right there. So we got that going kind of right down the middle of our little strip there. Then I'm going to tie a bow. I'm going to crinkle it up first. Let's crinkle it a little bit. Love seam binding when it's crinkled. Love seam binding when it's not crinkled. But let's kind of tie this bow like so. Just really a quick bow. Carrie ties way better bows than I do. I think probably everybody ties better bows than I do. You want to have a few little inches on your little legs here of your bow because you want it to kind of stream down just a little bit. What I'm going to do first is just like I did with the other boxes, I'm just going to kind of tie a little knot right here because I want to pull this. I want this to appear to have been tied around, and I may have cut that too short. I did. Let's get a little bit longer piece. I want this to appear to have been tied around this little strip of thing here. I'm going to just kind of cut that off so that it's covered up, but I kind of want that sort of like so it appears that I've actually tied the bow there. I'm doing it in 2 steps, but I don't want it to appear that it was done in 2 steps. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. Then we're just going to kind of lay that right there, kind of like so. And then I've cut a little tag from the paper. I used one of Prima's old tag dies to cut my little tag here. And this is a little bit bigger than my original. You can see my original tag is really small. It came from the ephemera pack, but I had already cut this one, and I'm looking for my ink. Get rid of that white core. And you could also take your planner glue like that. Dry it just a little bit. And you could add some foil to that too, because that doesn't have very much. So you can see that I'm getting that foil kind of on everything. Then what I want to do is just kind of lift my bow and add that right there as if I've tied that, almost as if I've tied that little tag on there. I'm going to add a little glue like to my legs here and just kind of place them in a few areas so that it's kind of not flopping around everywhere, but kind of stationary. I want my bow a little more stationary, kind of like so. Let's add a little glue under our tag so that it's a little more stationary, kind of like so. Let's add a little more on this little tag, just so. And then and I know that's probably cheating, but I kind of like to place my bow and their little flowy legs kind of where I want them. Then I just went in and added a few of Frank's beads. This is, or pearls, I'm sorry, these are the pearls, and I don't know where the number is on this. Oh yeah, I do, 990381. This is Frank's Pretty Little Pearls. So we're just going to kind of add these around. Like so. But you kind of get the idea there. You can just add as many pearls as you like. Just stream them kind of around. And that's it. That is what I did with our boxes, our gift boxes for our cards. So you can kind of see that's our original one with its top. And how easy those were. Easy peasy. The measurements might be a little confusing at first, but just remember the bottom of your box is going to be a 1/16 of an inch bigger than your card. The top of the box is going to be a 1/4 of an inch bigger than your card, so that the top of the box fits over the top of your box bottom. And that's it. Those are the projects for today. So thank y'all for joining me. Be sure to check out YouTube and all the videos that we're loading over there. There'll be a brand new one Thursday from Tiffany and Carrie. Welcome back from Africa. We missed you so much. We're so happy you're home and safe. And thank you everybody for coming. Y'all know I can't keep up with the chat, so I have no idea. If I didn't mention your name, thank you so much for coming, and I will see y'all next time. Have a great day, and don't forget, if you're in the United States, go vote. Bye, everybody.